Yes! There you go.
1-2, 1-2, 1-2.
Right, anybody watching this back, I'm going to trim out the entire start of this. Hello and welcome. I'm on for the Mackem. Today I'm joined by Paul Wilson and Jacob Aviard. Hello, lads.
Good evening. Hello there.
It's almost like the last 3 minutes didn't happen at all. Thank you for sticking around for that. I appreciate it. We might be joined by DJ at some point. Not too sure where he is. He said he's coming on, so we'll see him pop in a bit. But first and foremost, Jacob answered this first. So, how are we feeling about the 2-1 loss against Sheffield United? Jacob.
Devastated. Putting in position against a team that are doing well, it'd have been a good 3 points against Sheffield, but there were some things that the referee did that were just stupid, but we can't always keep blaming referee. But
yeah, we can't keep blaming the referee for the result at the end of the 90. But
no,
goals that are offside
should be counted offside.
Penalties that are blatant. Like, there is some blame there if we're heavily reliant on that being our source of goals. Then it is what it is. But yeah, let's blame the ref for a couple of moments in that game. But like you said, the whole 90, it's not just the ref in 4 or 5 different key moments. It's the entire 90 where we've got to score more goals. Paul, what are you thinking, mate?
Well, since I was there, I actually felt angry.
Okay.
After the game, to be honest.
But what were you angry at?
Actually, it was the referee's performance for me, to be honest.
Okay. I was going to say, I wouldn't have felt any kind of anger or bitterness towards our players in that game. Yeah, we lost, but we actually put in a good shift and didn't embarrass ourselves like we did when we lost against what's it called? Stoke. That performance was abysmal. This game, I think we actually put in a half decent shift. Do you disagree with that?
I don't think we were bad.
You don't think we were bad? I thought we played all right.
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah, actually, I have to agree with you, mate. I wasn't actually angry with the players because I thought the players actually did all right. Actually, for me, it was just the referee.
Yeah.
That actually made me angry, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's the officiating again. How many games this season have we said that it's been ruined by poor match officiating? Is that a word? Officiating? But the referees dominating a game rather than the players. It's got to be like our third this month. Yeah. So Rosie's chipped in on the chat. Hello, Rosie. Hello, Astra. Hello, Jacob again. Hello, Acacia. Good evening. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Even though I don't really celebrate it. I've lost my point. I've just saw Happy St. Patrick's Day. Then I started to read Brad's. Hello, Brad. Brad's message. But Rosie says the officials apologising to the coaching staff and not to the manager at the end of the game shows that they are aware that they made a mistake in that pretty much straight away. Is it a verbal apology, or is it a written apology that we need to have from the EFL? Really, not just this one referee. It's happened multiple times.
I think both.
Both,
really. I know that might be a bit greedy, but
you
know, the EFL is corrupt and things need to change.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It's interesting on that note because Tony Mowbray said today that Kevin Friend, which we don't like in the Premier League,
yeah,
Kevin Friend actually phoned up Tony Mowbray and actually apologised for their second goal.
Because it shouldn't have stood.
Yep.
Again, yeah. Do you think there's some kind of balancing that needs to happen? If this offside goal was in the first half, do you think there would have been some of that? The penalty appeals might have been given in the second half to balance it out. Do you think it's because it was in the second half and never got the chance to be balanced out?
Maybe, yeah. It was. I bet even as a lot of neutrals would have agreed. Anyone would have seen that as offside.
Yeah.
You know, I bet it wouldn't have happened other way around, wouldn't it? If that was Sunderland's goal, they'd have said, "Oh no, offside."
Probably. Well, it was offside. I think there's.
It was, yeah.
If you're only counting the touches that were involved, so the free kick taker and in the back of the net, there was no other touch involved, but the going for the play and swinging his foot at the ball, missing, airballing it essentially, that is what makes him offside. He attempted to play the ball. Doesn't matter if he touches the ball, he attempted to play and therefore is interfering with the play. I'm trying to equate something to like a little bit more layman terms. It's like having salt and vinegar on the side of your fish and chips, but not eating, like not putting it on the meal. It's there. It's intended to be used, but it never actually happened. It's still going to be a salt and vinegar fish and chips. I think that's a really poor analogy, but there you go. Sask, welcome along. Yeah, and Acacia says, but the referee pissed me off so much because us blades, our player Sander Berge and John Egan were offside, and it should have been a penalty for us, Sunderland, though. But Acacia's not going to say much else because what's it called? She knows and she knows it'll wind you up. Brad said the team who we played on Wednesday, Sheffield United, of all teams, they were close to going to administration. If they don't put the bid in by Thursday, I'm not sure what that means. Are you aware what that means?
No.
I've seen that come. It was in the Daily Mail today.
So are Sheffield United likely to go into administration? Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, that's what Brad's on about.
Oh, Brad, yeah, sorry, I mixed Acacia's message and Brad's up there, yeah. That's really, really bizarre. Oh, I want a fish and chips now. It is Fish Friday. So, okay, go for it. I went on for a minute and we're talking about fish and chips. I know. Well, to be fair, I'm disappointed. I went for fish and chips for tea tonight and they basically said they're not going to be delivering because they've got no driver on. And I was like, oh. So I went without with fish and chips. Don't you start, Jacob. Don't you start. You're going to be in trouble with Acacia. All right. Sorry, lads. The game on, was it Sunday?
Yeah, tomorrow.
No, it was Wednesday. No, the game that we played, that was the midweek one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Wednesday. Yeah, the days are all flying and merging into one now. We're thick and fast towards the end of the season. The result of that game, here's a question, and answer it in either order. Do you think Sunderland's season is essentially over now?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'd still like to get some wins on the way, but it's pretty much confirmed whereabouts we'll finish. You know, around where we are.
So what you're saying is yes.
Yeah, to be fair, I think it kind of is, to be honest. But it doesn't mean we should drop our heads and say let's not bother winning, because I still want us to go out and win some games. But we don't need to worry about relegation or being nervous about the playoffs. So
fair. Paul, do you think our season's done and dusted now?
Yeah, I think it is. To be honest, I know. Well, Mowbray actually was asked on it in the press conference today, actually.
Mm-hmm.
If the players should know, what's the plan now for the rest of the season. Morby said they're actually going to now try and win as much games as we can now, right until the final whistle goes at the end of the season.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I think it's probably a good thing that we know where we stand. If we're saying our season's over, as in we're not going to like absolutely desperately push for the playoffs and we're just going to play smart football, I'm all for that. If we're saying the season's over, we might as well not turn up. That's what I'm kind of not hoping for. There is a couple of games in that mix where I can see us struggling and classing them as free hits. Burnley being a very clear, safe point, I guess. Luton might be on that stretch as well, but there's other teams that we've got to come up against that I think we should definitely still be winning, even if our season is in theory over and done and dusted. There's only an 8-point gap between us and 6th, but that does rely on 5 other teams ahead of us dropping the points at the same rate as the teams in the playoffs and us being above that. That's very unlikely. So the Luton game, I think if we pick up a point, that's a huge point. 3 points would be really beneficial to those 5 teams above us as well. Because if Luton loses, there's a smaller gap to close down on. Burnley, I think, have just ran away with the league. I think if they could have the league sewn up now because Middlesbrough and Sheffield drop points in the midweek. They can actually have the game sewn up against Sheffield. If they lose that, then it's against Middlesbrough. So they could actually win the league in 2-3 games' time, which is mad. It's going to be one of the earliest winnings of a league that there ever has been. I know Reading did a really good one a couple of years back, but still. Sass has asked you a little bit of a question that threw me off. Mackem, are you wearing green? No, I'm not. I'm not really a massive celebrator of St. Patrick's Day because I'm not Irish, but don't mind it. I'd rather there be a bigger thing about St. George's Day because we're English, but nobody really likes that, so let's not bother. Rosie says Sheffield players was offside, but we should be down to 10 men as our player should have been sent off for his challenge. I can't remember much of it, but it's I don't know. It was just a disappointing loss at the end of the day. Being in a winning position to dropping down to a 2-1 loss. Abysmal. So, that game aside, right? There was a couple of things that were happening in the background off the game. So you had Dembele, who was at the game, speaking to KLD. Do you have any thoughts on that, boys?
Well, I've heard it's because he's got connections with Dreyfus Dembele, and also I saw a post that someone shared, and it was Dreyfus talking with Dembele with another player as well, who had it looks like they had Sunderland scarf in his hand, and so did Dembele. So I'm thinking who that other guy was, but
I thought it was his brother, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm not sure if his brother played football, but
yeah. There was 2 lads speaking to KLD, and they both had the Sunderland shirt in the hand at the end of the game, and it was all over the social. It was like, "Nice to meet you, Dembele. Nice to meet you." They didn't bother with the other guy, but do you think there's some potential of us signing a Barcelona player? We've had a PSG player, Michu, this year. Is it Barcelona next?
I mean, anything can happen in football. So say never.
If you throw enough money at it, I guess.
Yeah.
Paul,
I'd love to sign him.
Yeah. I don't know if you know much about how Barcelona are in the last couple of years, but they're now in a transfer embargo. So the players can leave, but they can't join. So they'd have to use academy players for Barcelona to fill out their first team, because they just threw money at stuff and got titles because financial fair play, and we know teams that are throwing money at clubs and financial fair play coming into effect a little bit harshly. So there's a glimmer of hope for the rest of the league once that gets ironed out. Paul, what's your thoughts on Dembele?
To be honest, I think he was just there because apparently he's good friends with KLD.
Is it just? I just thought it's a French thing again, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he just came to watch the game. To be honest with you.
Yeah. He just came to watch the game and got a nice little like personal package from the owner because they're mates. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I think. He probably came just to see what we're playing like.
Yeah. So on that, there's Brad's popped in, said we're keen to sign Bradley Dack from Blackburn Rovers in the summer transfer window. Keisha says it won't happen. But we've obviously talked quite a bit on this podcast over the last couple of weeks and months about our gaps and our injury worries around the striker position. But do you think it's a bit too early about talking to those players, the players like Dembele, maybe Dak, and others about the summer transfer window when we've still got 9 games left? Is it too early, or is it the right time to start amping up our window?
I think I see both sides, but at the same time, it's like it's good that we cannot, because we're not in any need of relegation or fighting for the playoffs.
Yeah,
we could maybe start a little early to prepare for next season, and if we get him, then it'd be a great asset to the club, and so
yeah, okay.
Maybe prepare a little bit next season.
Yeah, the question is, do you think those conversations, like bringing Dembele to the club, is a start of a move, or is it? Do you think it could be like it's who you know in football? So, is there other players in the academy at Barcelona that might be considering or getting frustrated? Do you think that's the kind of conversation he has? So we're not getting Dembele himself, but his mate was there. Nobody knows who his mate was, but he could be a Barcelona B player.
Yeah.
He could be an academy player in another Spanish league team. Because he wasn't tagged, I don't know who he was. I don't think anybody really called out who he was, but that's those kind of conversations with KLD now taking a bigger share in the club. I think
the club didn't even say who the other player was, to be honest.
Yeah, no, they just tagged Dembele in it because he's the bigger name, I think. But yeah, do you think that's a good sign that we are having these conversations now, trying to work out who's open to moving in the summer?
Yeah, just to prepare ourselves earlier than other clubs, to be fair. So the new players, the possible new players, can maybe get used to Sunderland and the area as well, and get to know what the people are like, and what the atmosphere will be like at the stadium.
Yeah.
So and maybe get to know some of the players as well and the manager.
Yeah. Okay. I like the sound of that, to be honest. So there is news from Sunderland today, and Rosie's popped it up there in the chat saying KLD has bought more shares in Sunderland. Basically, the same people who own Sunderland still own Sunderland, but the majority ownership has swayed quite a big chunk towards KLD. He is now a 58% owner instead of 51%. And who's the other one? He stepped up to 39%, and Donald dropped. Satori, yeah. He's gone into the high 30%, and Donald's dropped down to 9% ownership. Is that a good sign that we are edging Donald out, or is it just a case of Donald trying to milk it for as much as it's worth?
Well, that's interesting actually, because I actually think Donald will probably still be here until we get to the Premier League.
And sell on.
Yeah, that's what I think. But do you not think he wants to stay? Yeah, fair enough. Like, say, like if I don't know, but like say, like if KLD needs help, fair enough. Once a toy's there, but once a toy's not always at the club. And I know Donald's in the background, but like say, like if because KLD is young. Say, like if he needs, I don't know, say like support or anything.
Yeah.
Donald's in the background.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting dynamic because essentially the ownership and the sway towards like who we sign, where we spend our money is still has those three individuals having massive input. Maybe there's some kind of commercial agreement on the buying of those shares that allows KLD to have a more direct say in the spend. Maybe that's why he's bought up his percentage and not completely bought them outright. I honestly don't know, but it seems to be it's a power play. It's kind of like a house of, what's it called? What's it called? That big show, fucking 5 years ago, ended with dragons and stuff.
Not Dragon's Den.
No, it was huge. Oh my god! Somebody in the chat is going to go like, "Are you that dumb? Can you not think of it?" The Targaryens, Jon Snow, Game of Thrones. Gee, how could I not get Game of Thrones? That's how. Maybe it's some kind of Game of Thrones play with the owners. Jesus, that was hard to pull out. Yeah, do you think it's some kind of power play between those three people as to who owns what? And because by the sounds of it, Donald is on the way out. Like his shares are getting smaller and smaller at each announcement. So is it him trying to clutch onto it and hold on to it for as long as possible, or is he still passionate about Sunderland and our fan base is just completely unaware of that?
I think with that we never know because we never see Donald at any games.
We never really see him until his name pops up in one of these announcements. So it just feels weird.
It's interesting because Donald's not actually on the board.
Not anymore, but he's still like, if there's a big capital spend, he has to have a say in it. What I'm saying is, if KLD has bought out more shares, is that because that amount of say that he would have needed, say if it was over 10%, you have to provide funds towards that purchase of the player. Now he's in 9%. Is that purchase of the player like completely on KLD and Santori? Is it just those two that have to buy the player now, or is it all three of them still? I think it would be really interesting to see how that dynamic still works, because we need more players in and we need to have and present a solid, stable environment for these players coming in. What do you think?
No,
hopefully it'll make sense, mate. If he's got nothing to add on, that's fine. I'll move on. So we've got KLD, we've got the ownerships, and we've got the Sheffield United game done and dusted. That's out of the way. What we've got to look forward to now is Luton, another team in the playoffs, another team that is massively on form. They've won 4 out of the last 5, drew the other game. So what's that? 13 points out of possible 15 versus our 3. Is this the best or worst time to play Luton? Shoot.
It's not the best, really, but I mean, look what we did against Norwich. I mean, I don't see why we can't do another surprise win against a team that's in the top half. So,
okay,
you never know. Luton could maybe slip up. So, you know.
Yeah. So Okay.
Unless the referee's a cunt and we lose due to his shit job of a referee.
Yeah.
Which won't surprise me.
So the last two games, I think they've won them both 1-0, if memory serves me. Like it's usually quite tight, and it's one moment in it.
Yeah, I've seen their last two results. They actually have won 1-0 on both of them.
Yeah. So, do you think we have what it takes to defend against these for the full 90 and keep a clean sheet? Because it could be split by one goal. They're a low-scoring team for the entire season. They've got an average of 2 goals per game, or less than 2 goals per game. Paul?
Yeah, to be honest, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to actually how we get on against these. After playing them down there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've got a new manager as well. I think Tony Mowbray did mention. Not exactly who it was, but the new manager has done. Mowbray said the new manager's done well.
Clearly, mate, the fourth, and they're comfortably in the playoffs with a game to spare, at least 2 games to spare. So they're on 63. Norwich in 7th are on 56. So they could lose to us. They could take a free hit against us and still be comfortably in the playoffs. So I don't think they have all that much other than potentially securing that playoff spot for another game to come up against us as. So I don't think they're going to come out the gates and attack us all that often. It's just, can we sustain these counter-attacks, the slip-up moments, the dodgy passes around the back? Like, do we have too much vulnerability in our current squad to sustain 90 minutes against a team that is basically very clinical and ruthless in 1 or 2 moments in a game?
The thing is, it'd be interesting with this because I've just seen that when we played them down there, it was actually a draw, 1-1 down there.
Yeah.
We're actually at home. It'll be very interesting for us.
Home advantage is not necessarily a given for Sunderland, though. As you can see, we've got, if you're looking at our stats, mate, like, you can see our away form is much better than our home form this season. I think we've won like 5 or 6 games at home out of 19, 18, 19. It's not great.
Think, though, because this is our final game before the international break.
Yeah.
Do you not think the players will want to get a win at home? Yeah, especially with all fair enough we won against Norwich, but like the losses we've had.
Yeah.
Do you not think the players will actually want to get one back?
You'd hope. You'd absolutely hope. Jacob, I'll open that question to you as well. Like, what do you reckon?
Sorry, what was the question again? I went into.
you zoned out for a second. No worries.
Yeah.
So the question, if I'm repeating you correctly back here, is: do you think that because we're at home and because it's just before the international break, that we'll want to gun out all guns blazing and get a win from this game, or do you think it's just a case of recovery from the Sheffield United game?
I think they'll want to go out maybe full guns blazing before international break, so that they can end on a good note, and then when we come back, try and pick up a few more good wins and pick up where we left off. So it would be nice to just get a few more wins now because I think we deserve it, really.
I'll ask you both a quick question then. What do you think the scoreline's going to be? What's your prediction for this Luton game?
2-1 Sunderland.
Safe bet. Okay. And
I'm going to go 3-1 Sunderland.
See, you're both very, very confident. Do you know what I'm going to say?
A Sunderland loss.
No. I want to say 0-0. I think our ultimate goal for now and the rest of the season is to prove that we defensively have our head switched on. And that has been a massive gap. Like, we've conceded how many goals compared to the rest of the top of the league? 45? The nearest one to us in the top half is Norwich on 41. No, sorry, Middlesbrough on 42, but they've absolutely dominated scoring up front. So I think we need to clean up our defence before we can start striving towards those playoffs. So I'm going to go for a 0-0. I don't like ever watching 0-0s, but they happen. And I think, yeah, defensively, we need to tighten it up. The clear gap of the Sheffield United, when, what was it, the board got held up, some of our players were distracted by the board, and then they had a big gap in the middle of the park and levelled just before half time. So it's those kind of things that I think we need to just iron out completely. Defend until the whistle blows. Just ignore any other distractions. Do your job for 90 minutes plus injuries. And that would be my team talk if I was Mowbray. You can't lose if you don't concede. Very, very simple.
Yeah, it's interesting because when Mowbray done his press conference today, he actually said that there'll be I think it's a last minute injury. He wouldn't say who it is.
Sorry, what? It wouldn't say who the injury was.
No.
So they're not getting picked for the starting 11 either way, but he's not going to tell us who that is until the team sheets are out.
But 09 is 09's okay after limping off.
That just sounds really bizarre. I'm gonna have a wild punt in the dark here and say it's Trey Hume. Trey Hume has been injured a couple of times over recent months, and he's actually fitted back into the squad quite well. So I'm thinking it might be Trey Hume, but it might be a slight knock and a reopening of his previous injury, shall we say. That's a really weird statement to make. I think somebody's injured, but I'm not telling you who. That's either somebody who's been a glass slipper or glass legs and had loads of injuries, or somebody who's like on the subs bench a lot. Oh, that's really weird.
It'll be interesting though, because Mowbray did say actually that some players actually didn't train today, but I think he is going to check on them.
To be honest though, I think we're probably overexerting our players too much, which is causing these gaps. So if I was holding the training session between Wednesday and Saturday, that's three business days. You've got a 1 day rest and 1 day warm up, essentially. The day in the middle is if you want extra people training. I would, if your players on the pitch that you're starting 11 are starting to show signs of serious fatigue, you just give them an extra day of rest, and you put everybody who's on the fringe in the training session, and basically use that as a good scouting exercise on who's next to fill gaps if that person does get full-time injured or what. But you'd think as well the likes of Luke or 9 start there going, I don't care. Yeah, I think he would be like the kind of person who says, I don't care if I'm injured, I'm still training. You've got those types, but I think Ballard and Bath will be exactly the same. They would much rather show how good they are on the training pitch and make sure that they cement their starting place than take a day off. So, very interesting comment there.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mowbray said on, because a lot of the media was keep asking about Dennis Serkin.
Okay.
Mowbray said Dennis Serkin actually saw a specialist in London this week, but has not yet been given the all clear to resume full training.
I'm kind of okay with that. I think he's a player that's on the fringe in any ways. he's a person who either starts and gets subbed off at the 60-minute mark, or he comes on at the 60-minute mark. He's not a full 90 clinical person to our current squad. He is absolutely quality, don't get me wrong, but like he's not Ross Stewart essential, if that makes sense. More people are talking about Ross Stewart's injury than Dennis Irkin's. Right? Am I wrong there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
I think you're right. The one thing I don't want Moby to do is drop ball tomorrow.
What do you mean, drop ball? What do you mean?
Because ball will help. Gellhart.
Who's ball?
Ball.
Ball. Oh, okay, Danny Barth. Okay. Sorry, I was like, who's ball? I was like, Kevin Ball? Oh, he hasn't played. He's a coach. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, Barth. Okay, got you.
Well, not Balls, but Abdullah Bar.
Oh, Bar. B-A. Abdullah Bar. Got you. Sorry. Okay, that took me way too long to comprehend that. That must mean I'm getting a bit tired. Anyways, right. The last point I want to discuss is, because we've mentioned it a couple of times, Sunderland's season's over. Who's still in the race? I think everybody's in agreement. Just say yes or no. Burnley are winning this title.
Yes.
Jacob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he said who's in the still in the title race.
No, my question is not who's in the title race, who's still in the game. If we're saying Sunderland season's over at this stage, who else is still fighting for playoffs, fighting for the rest of the season, fighting for position?
Yeah.
Who's doing what? So Burnley have won it, so they can basically, if they win the next 2 games, they can step their foot off the pedal all they like. They've won the title.
Yeah.
Sheffield United and Middlesbrough. Do you think Luton is also in that little bit of a free pocket team that are playing for the last automatic slot?
Yeah, I'd say Luton want to try and finish getting the playoffs, and they'll be up for it tomorrow. Because they'll want to try and secure their place, you know.
I think I think they're that far ahead of Norwich. I think they've already secured playoffs. It's the automatics now. Are you saying it's Sheffield are automatically going up?
Yeah, I think Norwich. Sorry, Burnley and Sheffield, and then I don't know how the semis will pan out, but I think the playoff final actually might be Norwich and Middlesbrough. So Okay. So you're saying Burnley automatic, Sheffield are going to finish automatic, so they're going to fight for that. Do you think Middlesbrough and Luton are going to try and climb to automatics, or claw the gap on Sheffield as much as possible? Who from Blackburn down then is still playing for the playoffs? So you got Blackburn, Millwall, Norwich, West Brom, Cov, Watford, Preston, then us. We've already said we're out of it. Preston are 1 point ahead of us. Watford 2. Paul?
It'd be interesting with Watford, though, because they keep changing manager.
Yep.
It'd be interesting because they've just got Chris Wilder.
That's big name, isn't it? But do you think it's a little bit too little too late? Do you think Watford, with changing their manager again, or he's got like 10 games to see what his squad is like and then look at the market in the summer? Do you think they've claimed their season's over now then as well?
Yeah, I think their season's over.
What about Cov in 9th?
It's interesting with them actually because they were interesting against us. So I actually think they could go up. They could
go in the playoffs. So what's really interesting about that is because they're basically on the exact same amount of points as Watford. So you're saying, even though Watford and Cov are on the same points, that's the bracket, that's the mentality. So anybody Cov up could be in the playoffs come the end of the season. So Watford, and then down to where in the bottom half of the table do you say this team could get relegated? You've got Bristol, in 13th on 48, Stoke on 14th on 47, Hull 15th on 46, Reading 44, Swansea 43, Birmingham, QPR both on 42, Rotherham on 40, Cardiff on 39, and Blackpool on 35. Huddersfield and Wigan on 33 at the bottom of the table. Where do you think? Obviously, there's a 4-point gap between Blackpool and Cardiff. That's still 2 games, but how far up the table do you think is safe? Who do you think's safe in that? It does help if you've got the league table in front of you, by the way. See,
I think Stoke are definitely safe, I think, to be honest. Unfortunately, because I fucking hate Alex Neil, but I think, Bristol are, and I'd say, so, like Preston are, I think, of course.
Yeah.
Hull, I don't think Hull will go down. So I'd say from Stoke to...
So 14th.
14th to maybe 18th, maybe 14th to 18th, because
they're all safe, are you saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying QPR, Rotherham and Cardiff is still within a fight for survival, and the rest are safe. See, I think it's a little bit different, but I'll let Paul chip in now on the league season.
It's interesting as well because QPR's just got Ainsworth.
Yeah, but he hasn't got enough time to see what his squad's about, and he's just thrown in front of games, right? He's got a 2-week break, I guess, in the international, but yeah. Go on. Who do you think's still in the relegation fight?
I think probably Rotherham.
Rotherham down. Rotherham, Cardiff, Blackpool, Huddersfield, Wigan. Those 5 teams.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna agree with those 5 teams, but I'm also gonna tack on 2 teams above them, but they're not like directly above them. I'm gonna throw in Reading and QPR into that mix. So Reading are on 44 points. I think they've done enough for the majority of the season, but the way they've performed over the last month and a half, it's shambolic. I think there's something clinically wrong at that club. Can't tell you what it is. I don't know enough about them. I'm not. I don't follow them that closely, but you can see something is not right at Reading, and I can genuinely see them losing every single game they've got left this season.
Hasn't Reading just got the 5-point deduction from the AFL?
I don't know. Have they?
I'm sure it was due to be announced that they were going to get it.
Okay, there you go. That even adds fuel to the mix. That puts them on level points with Cardiff in 21st. Man, yeah, okay, fair enough. Nos on PC says, I think Sunderland are going to finish 8th. That's really good. And he feels Luton will get promotion, which will be mad to see. Not to hate, but they will probably come straight back down. No offence to them. Yeah, fair enough. They've not got the infrastructure for the Premier League, but we said that about Bournemouth when they went up. They were, 12,000 seater stadium, and they've been up and down ever since. So you don't necessarily have to have a big traditional club to be Premier League worthy anymore. It's just about the players, and that's what I kind of like about football. You could have this little team. You could have potentially South Shields FC in like 10, 20 years time playing in League One in the Championship, if the players and the back office is run efficiently, correctly, and smart. Yeah, it's a points based game. The more points you get, the easier it is to be in a nicer conversation. So, yeah, to my point, Reading, QPR, Rotherham, Cardiff are still in with like a shout of being dropped into that bottom 3. I can see Blackpool now starting to edge away with it. That 6-1 win. Who was that against?
QPR.
Yeah,
there you go. Which is another reason I think QPR are in a little bit of dire straits. So, yeah, interesting times.
They've got tomorrow, Lord, and they've got Coventry.
Oh, that might be a bit of a bogey team for Coventry. Coventry have Coventry have got a funny history with Blackpool, right? But also, yeah, Coventry were down in the dumps with us for a couple of seasons, so understandable. Anyways, that's fun. What time is our game tomorrow? And are you both coming along to the watch along, or are you going to the game in person?
It's a 3 o'clock kickoff tomorrow.
3 o'clock kickoff tomorrow, and are you coming on the watch along? Oh,
I will be.
Awesome. Nice to.
I'm actually going to the game. It's at home.
It is at home, but on the odd occasion, that doesn't always mean people can make it. So, yeah. Do you want to wrap up and say anything before we end this one? It's been a bit of a strange one. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, interesting. Right. I'm going to wrap it there. End of the podcast, end of the stream. Thank you very much, everybody. Catch you on the watch along for the Sunderland game tomorrow. If you want to get involved in one of these podcasts, tune in live on YouTube or catch up on any good podcasting services like Google, Spotify, and Amazon to catch up on the one and only Mackem Football Show. From me and from Mackem, from Paul,
See you later,
and from Jacob.
Good night, all, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And away the lads.